Yo guys, how's it going? And welcome to the first episode of the Newcastle United Football Manager series. So in this series, we're going to be doing a Football Manager save with Newcastle United, and hopefully we're going to transform them into a big global brand and bring some silverware to the club. So yeah, we kicked off this save, booting up a save as normal. We was looking at the board's expectations first of all. So Newcastle's board wanted us to mainly qualify for the Europa League. That was the main expectation. They also want us for this first season to challenge in the Cups and also reach the latter stages of the Champions League. So I think this was pretty achievable for a first season. I think with the squad that we currently have, this is definitely something we could do. However, then in terms of progression, the board also want us to be consistently qualifying for the Champions League in the future seasons and also have a good challenge potentially at getting to the later stages once again in the competition. However, then, the expectations stepped up a bit. At the end of the 25-26 season, the board have expected us to win the Premier League. So this is going to be a big challenge for us. I thought this was a pretty big step up, to be fair. I thought the board was being a little bit harsh with that. But at the end of the day, we've got to take on the challenge and hope for the best. So we jumped straight into it. And first thing we did is we had a quick little meeting with the board just to negotiate a couple of little things to do with the expectations. I was a little bit put off by the fact that we had to go from qualifying for the Champions League straight to winning the Premier League title. I thought this was a little bit unrealistic. So I thought maybe, we might be able to negotiate this a little bit. So that is what we did. We jumped straight into negotiations with the board and the chair, and we tried to alter it slightly. So as you can see, we challenged for the Premier League title instead. However, the board was having none of it. They wanted us to win it. They have the high bar to set. So unfortunately, we had to settle for this. And this is what our squad was looking like. So this is the first sort of tactic that I set up with the team. So we're starting off with a 4-3-3 DM wide, focusing on getting the balls into the box to Nick Voltemada, who's one of our big tall strikers. So this is our initial sort of main tactic we went with. However, we also decided to create a second tactic, just to switch it up a little bit in case the game wasn't going too well. And we focused based on tiki-taka football in a 4-2-3-1. So what this would allow us to do is break through the lines a little bit easier than forcing all the play into the box. So that's what the formation sort of looked like, set up there, with the inverted fullbacks helping to push up the pitch and also adding that attacking midfielder in support of the attack as well. We also focused on low crosses as well into the box, with Johan Visser being a bit of a smaller target in the box than Nick Voltemada. So we thought, that might be a little bit more beneficial for him. However, it's very similar in terms of we're working the ball out wide, we're getting it into the box and hoping that our striker can get on the end of it. In terms of defensive as well, not too much complex stuff going on there, just playing a little bit of press-based game. So there's our two tactics that we are setting up with first of all, with Jacob Ramsey coming into the attacking midfield position. And this is what our pre-season fixtures were looking like. So not too bad for pre-season fixtures, very, very achievable games. We had SK Sturm Graz up first. And next of all, we started looking potentially at a couple of players that we could get on the transfer list, with Joe Willock being one of them. And we started to also set up some recruitment focuses as well. One of the main positions we needed strengthening was definitely attacking midfielder. We didn't have a suitable, high-quality attacking midfielder really at the club. So that is one of the main focuses that I set up first. And alongside that, we also need some cover for Lewis Hall. He's our current, probably only left back that's very capable of playing there at the minute, besides Dan Burn, maybe filling in that position. So they're the main two recruitment focuses we set up with. And immediately the scouts brought back Morgan Gibbs-White as a potential option in the attacking midfield, as you can see, with a 4-star potential rating. So yeah, he can play quite well in that attacking midfield role. So I thought it'd be a good start to make a quick inquiry about him, as that's somebody in our budget that we could potentially go with. We then jumped straight into a quick meeting with the staff, and we signed a couple of extra scouts and also sports scientists and other staff members to try and bolster up our staff roster and improve the quality in our squad. However, disaster struck straight away. Harvey Barnes picked up a small injury, which was very unfortunate for us. However, it didn't look too bad with only being out for 2 to 3 weeks. Next, we jumped into a quick introduction with the squad. So this was to outline our targets and expectations for the season. Everyone seemed pretty positive in this meeting. Jamal Lascelles was leading it as team captain. Now, there was the option offered by our assistant Jason Tyndall to swap to Kieran Trippier as captain. However, I didn't want to upset the squad hierarchy too much, so we kept Lascelles for now as our captain for the forthcoming season. So we went through all of our expectations in the different competitions, such as the Europa League and our UEFA Champions League ambitions for the following season. Everyone seemed pretty pleased and happy, as you can see, with the expectations, which is always a good start on a Football Manager save. You want to keep your squad morale nice and high. And I also set quite high expectations with the FA Cup, as that is a good competition that we could potentially aim to win if we want to bring some silverware immediately to the club. And everybody seemed pretty happy with the code of conduct that we also set out, which again is also a good start. We wrapped up this meeting with a very, very happy squad. We didn't really set any promises because I didn't want to make too many commitments early on, but so far, so good. And then next we jumped into a quick press meeting as well. So this was to answer a few questions to the press. That went pretty well. Basically just expressing how excited we are. And yeah, we jumped then into a couple of loan transfers as well. So one of them was being Alex Murphy. At 21-year-old, he hasn't got the most highest potential. Bromley came in with a very, very decent offer, paying a lot of his wages. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for him to get some game time. So we sent him off to Bromley, provided that he was happy to move there, which was a very good move in my opinion for him at this stage in his career. So we accepted that. Happy days. It was time to jump into our first friendly against SK Sturm Graz. That was our team that we set up with Voltemado up front in our 4-3-3 formation. And we jumped straight into our first pre-season game with lots of happiness amongst the squad. However, we didn't get off to the best of starts. Sturm Graz bombing down the line, playing it into Ehrman, who switches it over to Kayombo. He plays it back into Kit Shelvey, and he absolutely lashes it into the back of the net. So we went 1-0 down, unfortunately, to Sturm Graz, which wasn't the best of starts. However, a quick response with Bruno playing it down the line, Anthony Gordon making a fantastic run, who drills it into Nick Voltemada, making it 1-1, getting him on the score sheet for the first time this season. And then we had a second goal coming in with Jacob Ramsey after a quick corner, fed for a quick tap-in for him. And then Anthony Gordon once again found lots of space down the right-hand side. He drills the ball in. Joe Linton's found free in the middle. I don't know what the goalkeeper's doing, but an easy volley for Joe Linton wraps up an easy, comfortable 3-1 first pre-season game against SK Sturm Graz. So that was a very comfortable, promising first performance from the squad. I was very happy with a lot of performances. And after that, we jumped straight back into a little bit of scouting with one player in mind, Takafusa Kubo. I did spot him after going through some of our recommendations from scouts. He was at a very, very affordable price and a good age, and we was needing somebody in that attacking midfield role. As you can see, he's quite comfortable playing in multiple positions as well, even filling in up front if need be, which was quite a promising idea, I thought. And it was also heavily recommended by the scouts with very, very high potential. So this is one of the main players that we're going to look at in this transfer window. So yeah, he's got plenty of experience internationally. He's got lots of good traits, and also was very willing on joining the club as well. So yeah, as you can see, it feels that it would be very beneficial for him to join the club. And 22 to 33 million I thought was very, very, very affordable. And his wages aren't too bad either. So this is one player that we're going to highlight in this transfer window. So what we did is we further scouted him, added him to the shortlist as one of the players who we are going to look at in the potential future. Unfortunately, Barnes was still out. That was not ideal for us. However, he is getting closer to a return, which will be very promising for our depth in our winger positions. So after a small knock to Joe Linton, which wasn't ideal for us, we had another loan opportunity on the table. This time it was 18-year-old fullback Leo Shahar. Now, he has a very good transfer value for somebody of his age. So that shows he has very, very promising potential in my opinion. So I thought once again, like Alex Murphy, it would have been very, very beneficial for him to get a move out. And Leyton Orient came in with a very, very suitable offer, I thought. So we just had a quick look through the terms of that one, and then we accepted that offer with 100% of his playing wage being paid by the loaning club, which I thought was a very good offer. And then we had another very, very promising youngster also sent out on loan. This time it was Charlie MacArthur. So Port Vale came in for an offer for him. Once again, with a very, very good transfer value for someone of his age. 8.2 to 9.6 million is someone we could definitely capitalise on in future, if he's got the right development. So, yeah, we had a quick look through his terms as well that Port Vale had offered. And once again, it was pretty suitable. I was pretty happy with it all. So we accepted that offer as well and gave him the potential chance to move on. Now, this time we did have to pay the playing wage ourselves, but I was happy doing this because he's only on a £6,000 per week wage, so that wasn't too bad. And yeah, it was time to jump into our second pre-season match. This time we was at Luton Town, and we switched it up a little bit, bringing in Johan Visser onto the left-hand side, and also switching up our midfield a little bit with Joe Willock and Lewis Miley coming in to support Sandro Tonali. Now, unfortunately for us, as you can see, Johan Visser did pick up a knock early in the game, which is quite worrying. So we had to bring Anthony Gordon in early doors. We're going to hope that's not too bad of an injury. However, it only took us 27 minutes to jump straight into the game with Nick Voltemada with an absolute bullet header, followed by a second goal from Voltemada, once again getting his head on it in the box, beating Shea in goal. And then on just before the 80th minute, Sandro Tonali whipped in a third cross and we struck the bar with Sven Botman. Now, Luton Town really had an issue defending those corners, but we picked up a quick 2-0 win and we gave Alex Murphy the nod on his deal. We then came back to focusing on staff and we gave a couple of extra scout options out there as well, a little bit. And then I just came back to the couple of recruitment focuses that we had on because we wasn't getting too many options in. So I narrowed it down a little bit on the potential ability to bring in more options and also bolstered the age bracket as well, which might bring in more potential options for us, while also including the option of a loan to try and get more recommendations in, as we really needed to get these positions sorted in this transfer window. And that will be our main focus in the next video. But that is where I'm going to wrap up this first video on Football Manager. I hope you've all enjoyed. If you have, if you could like and subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome. And I should have another video coming up very shortly as well. So yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.